All right, so in this station, we're going to talk about solving equations that have fractions and decimals included. Many students get very worried when they see fractions and decimals, but you'll notice I have my calculator out right on the side of my screen, ready to help me. Fractions and decimals are numbers too. They are just a different kind of number. So we don't want to change any of our strategies. We just want to deal with the fractions and decimals as they come. So in this first equation, I'm going to get my train tracks around my equal sign. It says 1/5 x plus 14 equals 10 plus 2/5 x. Again, these are just fractions, they're just another number. So the first thing that I notice is that I have 1/5 x on this side and 2/5 x on that side. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 1/5 of an x from both sides. 1/5 minus 1/5 cancels out. I'm left with 14 on the left-hand side. I have 10 on my right-hand side already. I haven't used that yet. And you can do 2/5, take away 1/5, which should just leave us with 1/5. If you want to do that on your calculator, just use your parentheses. So I could type it in just like I see it. 2 divided by 5, 2/5, minus 1 divided by 5. Notice how I'm using the parentheses to keep my fractions together so that my calculator knows that they're fractions and I'm not just asking it to divide two numbers. And it will give me the answer of 1/5 that I already got. Awesome. All right, so now I need that 1/5 x to be by itself. I see a 10. This is a positive 10. Notice that there's no negative sign in front of it. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. That will cancel out and I'll be left with 4 equals 1/5 of an x. And the last thing I usually do is divide by whatever the coefficient is. In this case, the coefficient is 1/5. It's a fraction. So I'm going to divide by that fraction. This is the moment where many students go, oh gosh, can I do that? Yes, you absolutely can. 4 divided by the fraction 1/5. Notice how I put my fraction in parentheses to keep it together. And my answer is x equals 20. So just like before, I used inverse operations to move my smaller x value. I used inverse operations again to move my 10, and then I divided at the end, dividing by 1/5. So my answer here is x equals 20. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to check this just like I did before. I'm running out of room a little bit here, so I'm going to kind of shrink down my work for a moment, kind of slide it over here so that it's all still there. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is check the left-hand side. So I would have 1/5 times 20 plus 14. So on my calculator, I put my 1/5 in parentheses, I put my 20 in parentheses, and I add 14. That's going to give me an answer of 18. So there's my left-hand side. I'm going to do the same thing to my right-hand side. So 10 plus 2/5 of 20. 10 plus, use my parentheses to get my fraction, use my parentheses again when I plug in my variable, and I got 18 again. So 18 is the same as 18. I have checked and confirmed that x is indeed 20. So don't get freaked out by fractions and decimals. They're just numbers. We have a calculator. You'll always have a calculator when you're solving these problems, so use it. All right, it's that time again. I want you to pause the video. I want you to try the next one. It's on your worksheet ready to go for you. Remember, start with your train tracks. Let's get us set up here. Get your train tracks set up. And you need to decide which variable is the smaller one to move. So I have 1.4 w's and negative 3.6 w's. I'll give you a hint. The negative is the smaller one. So what's the opposite of minus 3.6? Plus 3.6. All right, pause and continue. Start again when you have a value for w. All right, if you've started the video again, that means to me that you're all ready. I've canceled out my 3.6, so I'm going to do 1.4w plus 3.6w. That leaves me with 5 w's. Look at that, those two decimals combined. Now I have a nice, easy number to work with. Okay? I see that minus 8. The opposite would be a plus 8. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Move down my 5w equals 10. Divide both sides by 5. And I get w should be 2. All right, when I check, I'm going to plug it into my original equation all the way back to the beginning. I'll do the left side, so 1.4 times 2 minus 8. 1.4 times 2 minus 8. That gives me negative 5.2. Seems like an ugly number, but we're going to go with it. On the other side, I have negative 3.6 w plus 2. Negative 3.6 w is 2 plus 2 more. I get negative 5.2 again. So again, even though that check seemed a little scary, negative 5.2 isn't really as nice of a number, I still got the same number on both sides, so I'm all set. So remember, when you're dealing with fractions and decimals, get out that calculator and use it. All right, happy solving.